What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, if you're wondering where I've been the past few days, I have been traveling, and I was over on Twitter. Actually, I did do a Twitter Spaces, so if you did want to check that out, you can go over to my Twitter. I was talking with BitBoy on the BitGet Twitter Space, and we were basically talking about crypto trends in 2023, so obviously, if you guys don't want to miss out on stuff like that, but here's the thing. I know it's been a super tough year for everybody, and, you know, it could definitely feel pretty depressing, especially if you just recently bought crypto this year and maybe you're down or maybe you had some funds on FTX or something like that. But I just kind of wanted to put things into perspective. So I actually have my laptop right here in front of me, and I just wanted to just talk about a few things. Number one is if we actually have a look at where we are right now as far as the S&P is concerned, you can actually see that the S&P is right here. It says declines from all-time high. And, you know, obviously it's not the worst it's been, but like Charlie Bellel pointed out, the S&P 500 ended the year down 18%, its largest loss since 2008. Since 1940, the only years with a larger decline, 1974, 2002, and 2008. And, you know, if you think it's bad that Bitcoin is down, you know, 74, 77, whatever percent, if you actually look at a lot of these companies, Bitcoin actually outperformed Carvana, Peloton, Beyond Meat, Coinbase, Teladoc, Lemonade, Robinhood, Snap Incorporated, Snapchat, Zoom, DocuSign, and Spotify. And it's pretty much on par with about where Tesla is right now. So, you know, you have a look at this, and these are all companies that are providing services, that are doing things, right? Some people have Pelotons in their house. Some people are eating, you know, Beyond Meat, using Snapchat, using Zoom. Lots of people use Zoom, and yet Zoom is down 89%. So you have to understand that this is just something that we are all experiencing. And you have to admit, when you look at crypto and you realize how crazy of a year that we have had. I mean, seriously, just going down the line here, you know, I have a few of these things that happened this year. So in May, right, we had the Terra Luna crash. Then in June, we had the contagion. You had Celsius freezing withdrawals, swaps, and transfers in response to extreme market conditions, right? And then in July, we had more fallout. Voyager and its affiliates filed for bankruptcy. Then you had Celsius file for Chapter 11 on July 13th. And then also, if you look at this company called Coinospi, they track like dead coins and stuff like that. They're saying there's about 2,400 cryptocurrency projects that are literally just dead right now, like absolutely dead. You had Coinbase cutting basically 18% of their employees, OpenSea laying off 20%, blockchain.com lost a quarter of its workforce, 260 employees got let go from crypto.com. Oh, and then guys, not to mention in October, we had the biggest ever month for crypto hackers. There was $718 million stolen from decentralized exchanges. And then in November, we had FTX freezing withdrawals. And you guys know, I don't need to tell you about FTX. We know what happened there. And then we also had BlockFi going down as well. So with all of these things that happened to the crypto space, absolutely all of this, and yet Bitcoin is still sitting at around that $16,000, $16,500 level, I would say that it has been quite resilient. And, you know, what a lot of people don't look at is the positives that have happened this year, right? So we've had the Ethereum merge. That was successful, right? We also have Elon Musk. He's over on Twitter talking about how he does want to integrate. In fact, his specific quote is, "It would make sense to integrate payments into Twitter so that it's easy to send money back and forth, currency as well as crypto." You also have BlackRock CEO Larry Fink still remaining bullish on cryptocurrencies despite all this. Goldman Sachs actually looking into and doubling down, doing their due diligence to maybe look to buy some of these depressed crypto startups, right? Maybe purchase some of these bankrupt, funds and stuff like that. Then obviously self-custody went mainstream, right? Everybody started buying ledgers. I saw spikes, you know, in my Ledger affiliate purchases, which you don't have to use my link, guys. Obviously, you know, you help support the channel. But most importantly, I'm just happy to see that you guys are self-custodying your Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We saw the largest exchange in withdrawals ever, 106,000 Bitcoin per month. And the crazy thing is that venture capital kept flowing in, right? It says right here, you had nearly 20 billion. Well, I know you guys can't see it. I'm pointing, but I'm reading it on the screen. Backs of $20 billion into crypto startups, into the sector in just the first 3 quarters. Now, according to PitchBook, more than 40% over the same period in 2021. So, you're still seeing this venture capital flow in. And on top of it, like I was saying on yesterday's podcast, I think the most important part is that, we got rid of the bad actors. These guys that were over leveraged, right? The speculators, the fair weather friends, the criminals, right? Those that were, taking advantage of customers' funds or misusing customers' funds or being over leveraged, right? That's all out of the system. And I just think to myself that, people say, oh, we got to keep going down. Okay, it's the last day of the year. Pretty much everyone that's going to do their tax loss harvesting has already done it, right? They've already sold. I mean, once January 1st hits, you can't claim a tax loss anymore. So what's the point? And with all of these negative things that have happened, the fact that Bitcoin is still holding on and the fact that Bitcoin is still performing better than Zoom, DocuSign, Spotify, Robinhood, Coinbase, Beyond Meat, Peloton. You got to ask yourself, is it really that bad? And I wanted to actually end on this clip from, it was Blockworks Macro, and I believe this is Mike, and he was talking on the Margin show. They had Mark Yusko on and stuff, and he actually made a pretty good case as to why we could see the Bitcoin bottom, and also why Bitcoin may actually end up recovering slightly faster than the stock markets. And I just wanted to play that clip for you guys super quick before we get on out of here.
I know this is going to sound like hopium, but I backed it up. I actually put some slides together. I think that the bottom is in for crypto, but I don't think it's in for equities. So this is what I've got some slides here to back up.
Two thumbs way up.
This hopium chart here. Let me see if I can share. All right. So this is basically what I think to knit what the debate actually, Mark, that you and Santiago were having earlier this episode. I think right now that you can make a pretty strong argument that crypto has been moving off of the back of interest rates. It's kind of this whole thing this year. Everything is one trade. What we're looking at right now is the correlation between liquidity and the S&P 500. But if you looked at Bitcoin, it looks like a very similar chart. But I think an important thing to understand in this dynamic is that crypto front runs expectations around liquidity. So basically everything that ends up happening in the broader market, crypto experiences a couple months beforehand. And if you actually, I couldn't find a way to match these things up, but if you actually went and looked at the price action, basically Bitcoin and crypto will lead what ends up ultimately happening in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, which is driven by interest rates. Importantly, I think one of the dynamics that's changed here is that dynamic has broken. Like if you look at the last squiggles, basically August on through this chart, there's a very tight correlation between what's going on with liquidity and the S&P 500. That breaks around post-May, basically in crypto, as two important dynamics have taken hold, which is A, crypto is being driven by fundamental dynamics in our space more than liquidity. They're not great dynamics. Everything's collapsing, but they're still being driven more by crypto fundamental dynamics. And also this like macro holder base of crypto, which was enforcing this relationship between liquidity and interest rates in crypto, they've largely exited the space. So right now what you have is a more retail kind of holder base of crypto, which is evidenced by this great chart that Coinmetrics put together, which is MVRV. So to just give you guys an understanding of what this is, MVRV is market value versus realized value. Market value is just market cap. It's the current price times the circulating supply. Realized value is an interesting metric that is proprietary to Coinmetrics. Basically, what they're looking at is the on-chain price that Bitcoin last changed hands at times the circulating supply. So really what it is basically a cost basis. And the assumption here is that the changes in crypto price or Bitcoin's price action is driven by speculators. So when you have a high MVRV, that's basically an indication that speculators are in control and it's probably marking a top. And then when MVRV is low, you're seeing mostly holders that are controlling the market, and that is typically marking a bottom. As you can see here, we are in a historically low period of this measure of MVRV. The last time we basically bottomed in MVRV was late 2018, early 2019. If you want to look at what happened to Bitcoin's price after that low of MVRV in 2019, it's basically up only till the next bull market. Now, I'm not necessarily predicting this, but it is interesting to note that we kind of generally...
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's the whole point of this show. You are predicting it. That's your prediction.
True. I think ultimately what happens to Bitcoin and crypto prices over the next 12 months looks more like this chart than down only. And one of the things that Jason and I have talked about a lot is that a funny dynamic, people just kind of look back at 2018 and 2019, if you were in that bear market, as being this bleak landscape. But there were price fluctuations of up to, literally, you can see this chart, 5,000 up to almost 15,000, right? 200, 150 to 200%, basically price moves. And I think what we were sort of waiting for is, look, the market sentiment has to get so bad that Bitcoin could double and no one would be calling for a bull market. I think we're almost there. I think we are basically flirting with it. That kind of negativity, like disillusionment, Santiago, that you were talking about. I think that sentiment broadly was necessary to find a market bottom. So basically, what I'm saying here is, Mark, I agree with you on everything that you just said. I think Q1 is going to be horrendous for stocks. Everything that's reset in terms of the NASDAQ and the S&P has been in valuation terms, not in earnings terms. But I think crypto's basically front ran that. And I think the worst is basically in for crypto. I'll caveat by saying, if DCG blows up tomorrow, or Tether or Binance, we could see a leg lower, but I don't think we sustainably see lows from here for much longer. So that's my prediction for my first prediction.
So that's it for me, guys. I hope you have a wonderful new year. As you guys can tell, I am not shook. We've been through this before. We know that heroes and legends are in fact made in the bear markets, and I am very optimistic. And if you do want to go check out that Twitter space, I highly recommend you guys go follow me on Twitter, because I went into a very big detail about how I foresee the future, and I do anticipate Bitcoin breaking its old all-time high by 2024 and putting in a new all-time high by 2025. So if you guys want to hear everything about that, go over, follow me on Twitter, check that out. I love you guys. You're awesome. Have a very safe New Year's Eve. I know people can get a little bit crazy. And Stella, she says have a happy New Year as well. So she's a little rag doll over here. So all right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a great and awesome start to your new year. We're going to be, kicking videos out left and right. You guys know how it is. You're awesome. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.